Today we're going to discuss unit conversion. I've got several questions I want to go through where we convert units. I want to start with this first one here. Convert 5.8 cubic yards to cubic feet. So when you convert with units, you always start with what you're given. 5.8 cubic yards, and mathematically that's yards cubed. And anytime you convert something, you multiply by what's called a unit fraction. And that means you have to multiply by something that's equal to 1. And what I know about yards, since I have yards here and I want to get rid of yards, I'm going to put yards on the bottom. I know that 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. Now the problem is this is yards cubed and this is yards. They don't cancel out. I want them to cancel out. So in this particular instance, I have yards cubed and I have yards on the bottom. I need to end up with yards cubed on the bottom. So I'm going to take this unit fraction, this 3 feet over 1 yard, and 3 feet's equal to 1 yard. So this is really just multiplying by 1. And I'm going to write it again, 3 feet, 1 yard. And I'm going to write it a third time, 3 feet and 1 yard. And here, if you look, I have yard times yard times yard, which is equal to yards cubed. So I have yards cubed here and yards cubed here. And they cancel out. And now if you look, I have feet times feet times feet, which is equal to feet cubed. And I have 5.8 times 3 times 3 times 3. And so if I take my calculator and I do the math, 5.8 times 3 times 3 times 3, I get 156.6 cubic feet. Now there's one last step to this problem, which is significant figures. Typically, when we convert units, we go by significant figures. Now what I mean by that is you all should have a sheet that I've given you. It looks like this, okay? And you'll see some of our conversion units have equal signs. 1 mile equals 5,280 feet. 1 yard equals 3 feet. 1 mile equals 8 furlongs. These are exact measurements. What that means is they have no effect on the outcome of this problem. But we also have things like, for an example, 1 mile is approximately equal to 1.609 kilometers. And you see you've got this squiggly equal sign, this approximately equal to. This does affect your final answer, okay? Now when we do unit conversion, what we look at is significant digits. In other words, here we have 2 numbers, 5.8, 2 numbers. This is 2 significant digits. Our answer should have that number of significant digits as well. So we round this answer to 160 cubic feet. And this is our final answer. Okay? 160 cubic feet. And we do that because this 5.8 cubic yards could be 5.75. It could be 5.83. We don't know. Okay? Because it's rounded to 1 decimal place, we want to round our answer to the same number of significant digits. So our answer would be 160 cubic feet. So let's move on. 318 psi to PSF. Okay, so this is pounds per square inch. Okay, pounds per square inch. And I want to talk about that word per. Whenever you see per, pounds per square inch, miles per hour, meters per second, anything like that, that second part of the unit goes on the bottom. So this is going to be 318 pounds per square inch. Pounds per square inch. And they've asked us to turn this into pounds per square foot. Now what that tells me is pounds. They don't want me to get rid of pounds. So I'm going to leave that alone. But they do want me to get rid of inches. Well, inches is on the bottom. To get rid of something on the bottom, I'm going to put it on the top. What do I know about inches? I know there are 12 inches in 1 foot. Notice the units don't match. This is square inches and this is inches. So what do I need to do? I need to multiply again. In this case, I need to multiply twice. In our previous problem, we multiplied 3 times because it was cubed. Here it's squared, so I'm going to multiply twice. Why? Inches times inches makes inches squared. Okay, so these two guys here cancel out inches squared. Now what do I have on the bottom? I have feet times feet. Well, feet times feet is feet squared. So I have 318 times 12 times 12. Let me find my eraser. I'm writing before I think here. So 318 times 12, which gives me 45,792 pounds per foot squared. Just like the last problem, I come in here and say 1, 2, 3 significant digits. Okay, 3 significant digits. Now, if you look at my conversion factor, it only has 2 significant digits. But it's an exact conversion factor, so it has no effect on my final answer. So I ignore this, and I go with 3 significant digits, 3 digits, which means I'm allowed to have 3 digits in this answer. Well, 45,792. Give me an answer with 3 digits. Well, that's approximately 45,800 pounds per foot square. It's 45,800 pounds per foot squared. Okay? How about liters to microliters? 0.18 liters to microliters. Now, the way I do metric system conversions, because this is a metric system conversion, we use prefixes in the metric system. Liters has no prefix. Microliters has a prefix of micro. And on that same sheet that I've given you, you've got this guy right here, this table at the bottom. I'll zoom out just a little bit here. And you see we've got tera, giga, mega, kilo, hecto, deca, deci, centi, milli, micro, nano, and pico. And I just found a mistake. It's always fun. We're going from a base unit. It has no prefix, that would be liters, to microliters. Okay, so microliters. Okay, from liters to microliters. Now what I look at is I look at this number right here. 10 to the minus 6. This is 0. This is minus 6. Okay, what that means is I need to move my decimal 6 places. Okay, and the way this chart works, if you've got my handy sheet that I've posted for you online, the way my chart works is real simple. If you go to the right, you move the decimal to the right. If you go to the left, you move the decimal to the left. Okay? So I'm going to the right, which means I need to move the decimal for this number to the right 6 places. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I look and say 1, 2, 3, 4 blanks. Those 4 blanks will be covered by zeros. So it'll be 1800 microliters. Okay, so 180,000 microliters. Conversion in the metric system is very simple. It's just moving the decimal. Okay, so here we go. 60 miles per hour to kilometers per hour. All right, so we start with 60 miles per hour. And we want to multiply this by a unit of 1. And if I take my handy sheet, I've got 1 mile is approximately equal to 1.609 kilometers. So I put 1 mile on the bottom, 1.609 kilometers on the top. And miles cancel top and bottom. And basically I'm going to say 60 times 1.609. And depending on whether this 60 miles an hour has 1 significant digit or 2, because sometimes the second digit can be significant. It depends on, the zeros can be significant. It depends on what you use to measure it. So like say if this was my car speedometer reads to the nearest 1 mile per hour, that would make the 0 significant, okay? Because I would know it's 60 and not 61 or 63 or 58. It's not been rounded to 60. So we're going to say this has 2 significant digits, and this guy here has 4. And what determines your answer is the lowest number of significant digits. So 2 and 4, I'm going to round my answer to 2 significant digits. So 60 times 1.609 is 96.54. And we're going to call that 97 kilometers per hour. 97 kilometers per hour. Okay? And that's if we round it to 2 significant digits. Here, 50 meters per second. We're going to do this one the long way. So here goes. 50 meters per second. We start with that. 50 m over seconds. All right. 50 meters per second. And there is a conversion from meters to miles. There is one. It is not on the sheet I've provided you. And I like to do this in a way that I use conversions I know. I don't just go look up every conversion. You could look this up and do it in one step. I want to show you what happens when I was in school, I didn't get to go look things up. You just had to know it. So here goes. What do I know? I know that there are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. So meters cancel. And I know that there's 1 mile in 1.609 kilometers. So kilometers cancels. So right now, what do I want? I want miles per hour. I've got miles. So I've worked with the top unit until I got miles. Stop. Now I need to work with the bottom unit. What do I know about seconds? I know there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. Okay, so seconds cancel. And I know that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. And so minutes cancel. And now I look, I have miles on top, I have hours on bottom. And that's how I know to stop. That's how I know I've done this problem correctly. Now, prior to this, all we've done is multiply. I want you to look at this conversion for a second. I have 1,000 on the bottom. Okay, and we're going to use the reciprocal rule that says 1 over 2. Right, so 10 times 1/2. 10 times 1/2 is the same as 10 divided by 2. That's the reciprocal rule. And so because this 1,000 is on the bottom, when I put this in my calculator, what I'm going to do is literally type 50 divided by 1,000 divided by 1.609 times 60 times 60. Okay, so if it's on the bottom, you divide. If it's on the top, you multiply. And if I do that, 50 divided by 1,000 times 1.6 divided by 1.609 times 60 times 60, I end up with 111.87 miles per hour. Now again, if we assume this is significant to 2 places, okay, this is significant to 4, this is significant to 4, this is an exact value, this is an exact value, this will be our determining factor. So this is significant to 2 places. This can only be significant to 2 places. So what would we call this? We'd call this 110 miles per hour. Okay, 110 miles per hour, significant digits. Okay. All right, last one, 4,800 pounds to tons. This is one of my favorite units. This is a metric ton. And it's an important thing because if you ever work for a company that's an international trade and they trade stuff in tons, you have to be very clear. Do you mean English tons or metric tons? English tons are spelled T-O-N, okay, and metric tons are spelled T-O-N-N-E. So if you look at this, this is a metric ton, okay? So you can't just say, oh, it's 2,000 pounds. It's not 2,000 pounds. So 4,800 pounds, that's what we're going to start with, 4,800 pounds. I mean, say, okay, what do we know about tons? Well, a metric ton is 1,000 kilograms. So I say, okay, what do I know? I know there are 2.205 pounds per 1 kilogram. Okay, so that's gotten this into the metric system. Now what? I know that 1 ton with a little t is equal to 1,000 kilograms. Okay, it's equal to 1,000 kilograms. So now what do we have? We have tons. You do the math. What's the math? The math is 4,800 divided by 2.205 divided by 1,000. You do that math, you end up with 2.176, yada, 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 yada. And this number just keeps on going. Go back to our original. If you assume this is two significant figures, i.e. the scale doesn't weigh to the nearest pound, then you would round this to two significant figures. If you assume that this is four significant figures, the scale actually weighs to the nearest 1 pound, then you would round this to four significant figures. This is one of those things in a math class that's really difficult, but in the real world it's really easy. Look at the measuring device. If the measuring device measures to the nearest 100 pounds, then that would be two significant digits. If it measures to the nearest 10 pounds, then that would be three significant digits. Right, because here's your tens place. If it measures to the nearest 1 pound, then it would be four significant digits. And that's how you decide how to round your answer. I'm going to assume 4,800 is rounded to the nearest 100 pounds, because normally in shipping we don't weigh down to the pound. So we look at this 2.176, we're going to call this 2.2 tons. 2.2 tons. So anyway, that's the lesson on unit conversion. I hope you learned something, and if you have any questions, please let me know.